What's up, manga fam? Welcome back to Scene Decoded. I'm absolutely buzzing with excitement today because we're diving into Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 21. This chapter features Sarada using her Mangekyo Sharingan powers, and she completely obliterated Rayu. When he tried to escape, she was like, "No way!" Jura merely caught a glimpse of Ryu's fingers before Sarada pulled him back and destroyed him completely. Sarada's powers are seriously OP. I mean, we got to see Sarada fully unleash her Mangekyo Sharingan powers, and I'm still trying to pick my jaw up off the floor. Let's break down everything that happened. First, can we talk about that gorgeous cover page? The cover page shows Sarada with her Mangekyo Sharingan. Her Mangekyo Sharingan is called OHIRUME, which in Japanese means Great Woman of Sun, daytime, and has been suggested as the spirit or wife of the sun. Who is the sun? We know that's Boruto according to Mitsuki. OHIRUME stands for the Japanese sun goddess Amaterasu. This means her power is somewhat derived from Itachi's, as Itachi had Amaterasu as well. Since they're all related, this connection makes sense. The naming is so significant here. If you remember from the original Naruto series, Itachi had Amaterasu, which makes perfect sense considering they're related. And the connection to Boruto being the sun, in Mitsuki's view? The symbolism is just chef's kiss. The chapter starts with Sarada talking to Chocho. Sarada says, "I want to become a Hokage like the 7th Hokage," while Chocho replies that all she wants is a boyfriend. Sarada then recalls a flashback from chapter 10 where she and Boruto were on the stone faces, and Boruto said, "I want to become a ninja just like your dad, and when I do, I'm going to protect you." She also remembers chapter 19, where Sumire asks her, "You don't like Boruto, do you?" "Because I do." These memories stayed with Sarada in her heart. She had been suppressing these feelings, thinking she didn't need them, but in reality, she did. The manga has been hinting at her feelings since the very beginning, and in her quest to become Hokage, she was blocking all these emotions. Now she realizes that she needed these feelings to become stronger, which is what her Mangekyo Sharingan represents. This is such beautiful character development. Sarada has been so focused on becoming Hokage that she's been suppressing her emotions, especially her feelings for Boruto. But now we're seeing her embrace those feelings and understanding that they're not weaknesses but strengths. The way Kishimoto is developing her character is just chef's kiss. Sasuke talks about Sarada awakening her Mangekyo Sharingan, seeing it as ultimate proof that she wasn't lying. He explains that Uchiha awakened the Mangekyo under extreme mental stress. What happened to Boruto stressed her tremendously, and Sasuke knew she wouldn't awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan unless it was to show that Boruto is innocent. Sasuke tells Boruto that when Sarada awakens it, she'll understand its powers instinctively, as all Uchiha do. It's so interesting that Sasuke already knew the truth about his daughter all along. He recognized that the emotional stress she was under about Boruto's situation was genuine. Genuine enough to awaken the Mangekyo. And that detail about Uchiha understanding their powers instinctively? That's such a cool piece of lore. The scene cuts back to the battle between Rayu and Sarada. Sarada looks menacing as she summons multiple black holes, drawing in everything in her path. She focuses a black hole on Rayu, who immediately senses her increased power. Sarada tells Mitsuki to take care of Araya and Yodo and to focus on protecting himself. She's about to take down another Shinju. That's 2 for 2. She first damaged Hidari, and now she's facing Rayu. Rayu attacks Sarada from a blind spot, thinking she can only summon one black hole. To his surprise, she spawns 4 black holes at once. This ability is similar to Kamui, but she can create multiple black holes and control what they absorb. Rayu is shocked by the number of different black holes and doesn't know what to do. At this moment, Sarada begins levitating, using gravity from the black holes to make both herself and Rayu float. Only they are affected by this targeted gravity, everyone else remains unaffected. This demonstrates the precision and strength of her Mangekyo Sharingan. 4 black holes at once? Are you kidding me? That's absolutely insane. Even Kamui couldn't do that. And the way she can selectively control what gets affected by the gravity. Sarada isn't just powerful, she has incredible control over her abilities right from the start. This makes her one of the most fearsome Uchiha we've ever seen. Sarada then shares her resolve with Rayu. For a long time, I chose to turn away. My goal of becoming Hokage felt so far away because I became impatient. For every calamity that occurred, I was always unable to do anything. I didn't want to admit that I was actually powerless. I was scared to face that reality, so I turned away from it. She continues, I thought all of that was just weakness, so I denied it. I also knew I was denying this power I kept hidden. Rayu responds dismissively, quit your babbling. What's up with this emo girl? The translation notes that emo in Japanese refers to someone with darkness in their heart, mental instability, or a woman obsessed with their romantic partner. Sarada explains that she felt weak for a long time. Every time she tried to help, she was powerless compared to her teammates. Mitsuki had Sage Mode, Boruto had Karma, and Kawaki had his powers from Ishiki. She was outclassed and couldn't even save Boruto from Kawaki, which resulted in Boruto losing his eye while protecting her. She now understands that the feelings she was hiding weren't weaknesses, but strengths. She comprehends her heart and her feelings for Boruto, which is what helped awaken her Mangekyo Sharingan. This seems to confirm that Boruto and Sarada might become canon in the future. I've got chills, you guys. This monologue from Sarada is so powerful. She's finally confronting her feelings of inadequacy compared to her teammates. For so long, she's felt like she couldn't measure up to Mitsuki's Sage Mode or Boruto and Kawaki's Karma powers. But now she's realizing that what she thought were weaknesses, her emotions, her feelings for Boruto, are actually her greatest strengths. And did you catch that hint about BoruSara potentially becoming canon? My shipper heart can't take it. Sarada says, if you run away from yourself, you cannot confront the truth in front of you. You can't save a single person. This references Yodo, who essentially sacrificed herself to help Sarada awaken her power. Yodo's purpose was to make Sarada realize her own feelings, which triggered her power. A black hole appears behind Rayu. He tries escaping using his grime claws, and Jura notices a few of his fingers emerging, but Sarada pulls him back. Rayu is powerless, unable to lift even a finger against her gravity. Sarada declares, becoming Hokage is my dream, so first I've got to start with accepting myself. At this moment, her eye starts bleeding. Reminiscent of Sasuke in Naruto Shippuden. She invokes her Mangekyo Sharingan, saying, Mangekyo Sharingan, OHIRUME. Rayu, trapped in the black hole, is literally torn apart. In a real black hole, you'd get ripped to pieces. And that's exactly what happens to Rayu. Sarada prevented his escape and pulled him back, similar to what Kawaki did to Code when he tried escaping through his claw marks. After destroying Rayu, Sarada collapses from exhaustion. Mitsuki quickly catches her as she loses consciousness, her Mangekyo having depleted all her chakra. A soul thorn bulb appears, seemingly collecting all of Ryu's remains, suggesting he might be revived later. The way Sarada utterly destroys Rayu is just chef's kiss. That moment when he thinks he's escaping and she just pulls him right back in, iconic. And naming her technique OHIRUME right before tearing him to shreds, what a power move. This is definitely giving me flashbacks to when Sasuke's eye would bleed in Shippuden. Like father, like daughter. And that detail about the Soulthorn bulb collecting Ryu's remains, that's definitely setting up something for later. The scene then shifts to Ida, Boruto and Kashin Koji. Ida informs them that Rayu was defeated by Sarada's new power. Koji remarks, she has successfully awakened it. One of the most important outcomes of this battle was having her accomplish that feat. Ida adds, above all else, it's a shame about Yodo. It's clear that Koji needed Sarada to awaken her powers for some purpose. Possibly to extract Momoshiki from Boruto, or to deal with the Karma and the Shinjus in some way. Koji says Yodo's sacrifice made a great contribution to the overall outcome and wasn't in vain. Boruto asks, was there a future where everyone lived and Sarada still awakened her power? Koji replies, no, at the very least if you had attempted to provide backup, Sarada would have never awakened it. Boruto is upset that Koji knew about Yodo's fate and said nothing. Koji explains that he judged there was no reason to tell Boruto, as he would have intervened, preventing Sarada from awakening her powers. Okay, so now we're getting into some serious plot developments. Koji planned for Sarada to awaken her Mangekyo Sharingan. And he knew Yodo would have to die for it to happen. That's honestly pretty dark, but it suggests Sarada's powers are going to be critical for whatever's coming next. Maybe they need her abilities to extract Momoshiki from Boruto, or to deal with the Shinjus once and for all. I love how Boruto is upset about not being told. It shows his character growth and how much he cares about his friends. The old Boruto would have charged in without thinking, but now he's mature enough to understand the consequences but still compassionate enough to be angry about them. Boruto asks about Konohamaru's situation with Matsuri, but Koji doesn't answer directly. Instead, he warns, Jura has shared senses with all other Shinju on the battlefield. If you show yourself in front of Matsuri, you'll be noticed by Jura immediately and you'll be killed. I saw several patterns with that same conclusion. Interestingly, though Jura supposedly shares senses with all Shinjus, he doesn't seem aware that Rayu was destroyed or that Matsuri was badly damaged by Konohamaru. This suggests something suspicious about Jura's connection to the Shinjus. Something doesn't add up here. If Jura shares senses with all the Shinju, why doesn't he seem to know about Ryu's defeat or Matsuri's condition? Is Koji lying? Or is there something more complicated going on with Jura's abilities? This is definitely setting up some intrigue. The scene cuts to Matsuri and Konohamaru. Matsuri is reduced to just a head but can still fight. Konohamaru is stabbed by Matsuri's scarf as she vows not to forgive him for tricking her. Suddenly a shuriken flies at Matsuri. Boruto appears using the flying Raijin technique, teleporting to where the shuriken hit Matsuri and destroys her completely. Even Konohamaru is caught off guard by Boruto's incredible speed, unable to track his movement. With Matsuri defeated, Koji worries, that hard-headed brat? Does he want to destroy all our efforts? Jura senses Boruto's presence and says, So, you have appeared, Otsutsuki Boruto. The chapter ends with the text. Boruto relentlessly cuts through the future, even if it means his own death. Boruto knows the flying Raijin? Minato's legendary technique? This is huge. He moves so fast that even Konohamaru can't track him. But now Boruto's put himself in serious danger. Koji is freaking out, which tells us just how dangerous this situation is. And that final line about Boruto cutting through the future, even if it means his death? I'm getting goosebumps. Jura is coming, and this appears to be setting up a confrontation between him and Boruto. Jura may attempt to capture or kill Boruto, potentially triggering a rescue arc or awakening a new power within Boruto, possibly the Jugan. There's something unusual about Jura's eye in the final panel, a strange mark that might indicate he's seeing Boruto through Matsuri's eyes at that moment. Boruto needs to escape quickly, as Koji has foreseen his death in this encounter multiple times. If Jura comes in the next chapter, Sarada might use her other eye's power, which we haven't seen yet, to fight against him. Jura might retreat, seeing Sarada as an even greater threat, leading him to plan the village's destruction shown in Chapter 1. What's interesting is that this might be setting up the village destruction we saw in Chapter 1. Is Jura going to go after the village because he recognizes Sarada as a threat? And what about Boruto's Jugan? Is this the moment it finally awakens? I'm especially curious about what Sarada's other eye can do. If one eye can create multiple black holes, what powers could the other one have? And will she be recovered enough from this battle to help Boruto against Jura? That's all for this chapter review. Let me know what you think about these exciting developments. A theory about Boruto, Sarada, the Jugan, and everything else is coming soon, so stay tuned for that. So what do you think? Will Boruto escape Jura? What's Koji's ultimate plan? And what other powers might Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan have? Drop your theories in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe for more videos. This is Decoded, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.